Welcome back, dear listeners, to another episode of our motivational book review series. Today we're discussing a book that, though written in 1936, remains a staple in personal development and communication techniques. I'm talking about none other than How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie's timeless masterpiece. It's one of those books, Susan, that has stood the test of time and has been recommended over and over again across generations. Even in our age of digital communication and social media, the principles Carnegie laid out are as relevant today as they were in the early 20th century.
Absolutely, Larry. The book has been a personal favorite of mine, and I know many who've transformed their interpersonal skills by practicing its teachings. It's amazing how simple yet profound the concepts are. From the importance of genuinely listening to someone to the power of appreciation, Carnegie really captured the essence of effective human interaction.
Indeed, and I think it's worth noting that this isn't just a book for business or salespeople. While it's often seen that way, its principles apply universally, whether you're trying to make a good impression, forge stronger relationships, or even avoid arguments and conflicts. It's about understanding and valuing people, which, in my line of work as a motivation coach, is fundamental.
Absolutely. So let's dive into these principles, Larry. Maybe we could start by discussing some of our favorite concepts from the book and how they've impacted our personal and professional lives.
Certainly, Susan. One of the principles that always stands out to me is give honest and sincere appreciation. In today's fast-paced world, we often forget to express gratitude or appreciation to those around us. A simple thank you or acknowledgement can go a long way. When we show genuine appreciation, it not only builds trust, but also motivates and uplifts the other person.
That's so true, Larry. And building on that, another principle that resonates with me is such a fundamental yet overlooked aspect of conversation. When we take the time to understand and discuss what the other person is passionate about, it fosters a deeper connection and shows that we truly care.
Absolutely. It shifts the dynamic from a self-centered approach to an other-centered one. And speaking of shifting dynamics, the principle let the other person feel that the idea is theirs is quite transformative. It's not about manipulating, but about valuing others' input and allowing them to take ownership and pride in the shared ideas. This is especially crucial in team settings where collaboration is key.
I couldn't agree more. Another principle that I found incredibly helpful, especially in potentially tense situations, is show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong." It's a reminder that we can disagree without being disagreeable. Approaching differences with respect and understanding allows for more productive conversations and less conflict.
That's a golden rule, Susan. We often forget that it's possible to assert our perspective without negating someone else's. It's all about creating a space where everyone feels heard and valued. Carnegie really did lay down a blueprint for fostering positive and meaningful relationships.
He did. And, the beauty of this book is that while the principles are simple, consistently applying them can be quite transformative. Whether it's in our personal lives, in business, or even in passing interactions, these principles encourage us to be more intentional, empathetic, and effective in our communication.
One point that always stands out to me is Carnegie's emphasis on understanding human desires. He writes about how everyone has a deep-seated desire to feel important, to matter. Recognizing that and making someone feel valued and significant can revolutionize the way we interact with them. It's not about flattery, but about genuinely seeing the worth in others.
And it's interesting because that recognition ties into another of his core principles: be genuinely interested in other people. So it's one thing to listen, it's another to actively show interest. By doing so, we're essentially telling the other person that they are worthy of our time and attention, reinforcing that desire for significance you mentioned.
That's a great point, Susan. And tied to that is the principle of smile. It might seem simple on the surface, but a genuine smile can be a powerful tool in making others feel at ease and building rapport. It's such a universal sign of goodwill.
True, a smile costs nothing but can mean everything. And while on the topic of universal gestures, the advice to remember that a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language is profound. It's a testament to the power of personalization. When you address someone by their name, it gives them a sense of individuality and importance.
Absolutely. It's these small, often overlooked gestures that can have the most profound impacts. Carnegie's insights aren't just about influencing people, but genuinely understanding and connecting with them. Another element that resonates deeply is the idea of listening more and talking less. In an age where everyone wants to be heard, being a good listener is a rare and valuable trait.
You've hit the nail on the head, Larry. Listening actively and empathetically allows us to understand the perspectives of others better. By doing so, we not only learn more about them, but often find common ground that helps build stronger, more authentic relationships.
And building on that, Susan, is the idea of admitting when we're wrong and doing it quickly and emphatically. It's not a sign of weakness, but of strength and humility. It shows that we value truth and integrity over our ego.
MD Larry. Dale Carnegie's teachings are timeless. They not only pave the way for personal success, but foster a world where understanding, respect, and genuine human connection are the norms. It's a book that, despite being written decades ago, remains a beacon for effective and heart-centered communication.
Wrapping up our discussion, Susan, it's evident that How to Win Friends and Influence People isn't just a guide for superficial interactions. It's a deep dive into the heart of human relationships and principles that foster genuine understanding. Carnegie's work is a reminder that the simplest acts often have the most profound impacts.
Absolutely, Larry. In today's digital age, where face-to-face interactions are sometimes pushed aside for texts and emails, Carnegie's wisdom reminds us of the power of authentic human connection. The book serves as a timeless toolkit for anyone looking to navigate the complex world of interpersonal relationships with grace, empathy, and understanding.
I couldn't agree more. For our listeners, if you haven't read it yet, it's one of those must-reads. It's not just about personal or professional success, but about crafting meaningful, lasting relationships.
Well said, Larry. And to our audience, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Dale Carnegie's seminal work. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be exploring another iconic book that has shaped the realms of personal development and motivation. Until then, keep reading, keep learning, and keep growing.